Which one of you wrote their college admissions essay about Avril Lavigne?
I'm being labeled as like punk, and punk is so not like commercial, like what I'm doing. I'm not punk. I never said I was punk, and I really claimed to be punk. My music definitely isn't punk. I mean...
We're going to the venue! We're going to go rock and roll!
She has been declared dead by the internet, sued over a chorus, called a corporate puppet by the very punks she inspired, and accused of racism for a song about candy.
I got on stage and I looked at the crowd and I was just like, wow, it was so neat to see so many people. And I just couldn't stop smiling.
And yet a whole generation of us girls learned how to line our eyes, knot a necktie, and say no to selling out because of her. Avril Lavigne spent the 2000s being told she was a fraud, while also turning upside down what a teenage girl in pop could be. The strangest part isn't even that people believed she died in 2003 and was swapped for a body double named Melissa. The strangest part is why that rumor even stuck in the first place, and what it tells us about the mask she wore. If you only have 30 seconds, here's the bottom line of this video. In an era of belly chains and background dancers, a 17-year-old from a town of 5,000 people showed up in a man's necktie and combat boots, scowled at the camera, and told the machine that she didn't want to sell sex. And let me tell you, that turned out to be the most marketable thing anyone had tried in years. She made being almost normal look kind of like a rebellion.
Here I am and I hear myself on the radio. Like, it's definitely like, damn, bitch!
Dude,
you made it! Like,
you did.
Small town. No connections. I don't know how I did it.
But if you'd like a bit more of an explanation, and I'm sure we all do, well, just follow me. Welcome. I'm Kira, and this is your beauty blueprint. I've spent a whole week researching, watching, and editing all things Avril Lavigne to bring to you her very essence and share the best of my findings. And here's what I keep coming back to, the thing I can't shake. The most authentic pop star of our generation may have been, at least partly, an invention. And funny enough, the most manufactured accusations against her may have been the truest thing about her. Somewhere in there is a lesson about how you build a self that the world can't take from you. Stick around, because by the end of this video I'll even serve us a quick breakdown of what we can still learn, very practically speaking, from Avril Lavigne's unique style universe, including the one eyeliner she's worn since day one and still refuses to replace. By the way, this week I tried out something new for us. Next to the usual fit t-shirt, I also designed a baby tee, inspired by Avril and the emo phase nostalgia. Here's a link. So settle in, pour yourself something a little reckless, a double shot of Grey Goose on the rocks, which she once told Maxim was her drink of choice. Or if it's daytime, a bright pink lemonade, since she now literally sells one. Grab it, get comfortable, and let's start with understanding who Avril Lavigne actually was, and how she came to be, you know, the Avril Lavigne. Here's a tiny backstory.
And now, for the moment you've all been waiting.
She was born Avril Ramona Lavigne on September 27th, 1984, in Belleville, Ontario. A Libra, with her moon in Scorpio and her Venus in Scorpio too, with Mars in Sagittarius. Some sources say Libra rising, others Sagittarius. It's super interesting though. A Libra sun is the diplomat, the one obsessed with fairness and with the gap between how things look and how they really are, which is the entire subject of complicated. And that Scorpio moon in Venus? Intensity, secrecy, an all-or-nothing heart, a magnetism that curdles easily into obsession. For a woman whose whole public life became a referendum on what was real and what was fake, it's a rather fitting map. The family moved to Greater Napanee when she was 5, a town of roughly 5,000 people. Her parents were devout Christians. Her father, Jean-Claude, played at their church, and Avril sang her first solos in the pews. Her mother was so protective, she wouldn't let little Avril sing the country song Strawberry Wine, because it had the word wine in it. Her dad bought her a microphone, a drum kit, guitars, and turned the basement into a studio. She was, by her own account, a mischievous kid who got kicked out of class and was diagnosed with ADHD. The discovery story is almost a fairy tale. In December 1999, she was singing country covers at a Chapters bookstore in Kingston when her first manager, Cliff Fabri, spotted her. Tapes went out. A demo deal with the Canadian firm Nettwerk led to sessions in New York with producer Peter Zizzo, who remembered her as the blankest canvas, a girl who sang without affectation. Then, in November 2000, An A&R rep named Ken Kroeger brought his boss to a Manhattan studio to hear her. That boss was Antonio L.A. Reid, head of Arista. Her audition lasted about 15 minutes. It so impressed Antonio that he signed her essentially on the spot, a deal worth over $1 million for 2 albums plus an extra $900,000 publishing advance, more than $2 million in all. She was only just 16. She dropped out of high school after the 11th grade and moved away from home. This is where the official story gets messy, and I assure you, it pays off. Arista did not know what to do with her. For nearly a year, nothing worked. They kept pitching her songs written by other people. She kept refusing, insisting she wanted to write her own. She was, by her own telling, on the verge of being dropped. Arista was drop-dead shit afraid, she later said, that she'd deliver a whole album of the raw, nu metal-tinged songs she was writing with producer Cliff Magnus. So the label did what labels do. They brought in a fixer. That fixer was a Los Angeles production trio called The Matrix: Lauren Christy, Graham Edwards, and Scott Spock. And here's the controversy that has followed Avril for more than 2 decades. The Matrix wrote and produced 5 songs on her debut, including the first 3 singles: Complicated, Skater Boy, and I'm With You. Lavigne is credited as a co-writer on all of them. But how much did she actually write? Christy told Rolling Stone plainly, with those songs we conceived the ideas on guitar and piano, and that Avril would come in and sing a few melodies, change a word here or there. She offered one deliciously specific example. In Complicated, Avril wanted the line to say, "Take off all your preppy clothes," instead of "stupid clothes." But Avril told it very differently. She said she wrote Complicated in maybe 2 hours, that songwriting came easily, that someone could tell her to write a song and she'd do it. The Matrix never worked with her again. Who's telling the truth then? Probably both of them, in a way. A more recent account from Christy describes the 2 women writing the bulk of the lyrics together under a tree, the whole thing captured on a Radio Shack microcassette recorder. What's undeniable is that a very grown-up, very expensive team of professionals sanded a 16-year-old's rough edges into something radio would love, and then that 16-year-old was sold to the world as the anti-manufactured pop star. Hold that thought. Let Go came out in June 2002. It went to number 2 in America and number 1 in the UK, Canada, and Australia. At 17, she became the youngest female solo artist ever to top the UK album chart, a feat later logged as a Guinness World Record. It was the best-selling debut of 2002, and Lavigne was the best-selling female artist of the year. She's by now sold over 40 million albums worldwide, which actually makes her the 3rd best-selling Canadian female artist ever, behind only Celine Dion and Shania Twain, the same Shania Twain she'd won a radio contest to sing with as a kid. Now the romances woven through the work, because with Avril, the 2 were actually never separate. She met Deryck Whibley, frontman of the band Sum 41, when she was 17. They started dating when she was 19. He proposed in Venice in 2005, and they married in California in 2006. It was during that period that her sound went dark. Her second album, Under My Skin, 2004, traded the neckties for black tutus and genuine grief. She wrote much of it with Chantal Kreviazuk, and it debuted at number 1 in America. She and Whibley divorced in 2010. Then came the reality star Brody Jenner, from 2010 to 2012, matching tattoos, a bar fight, a very public and very friendly breakup on Twitter. In 2012, she started working with another famous Canadian rocker, Chad Kroeger of Nickelback. He proposed after 6 months. They married on July 1st, 2013, Canada Day, and divorced in 2015. Later came the rapper Mod's son, to whom she was briefly engaged, and then a whirlwind with Tyga in 2023. She once simply told Billboard, "I love love." In 2003, Avril's grandfather died. She was very close to him. And somewhere on the internet, a story began to grow that she never recovered, that she died that year, and that the woman we've been watching ever since is an imposter. The theory has a name, and the name is Melissa Vandella. The story goes like this. At the peak of her fame, Avril's label hired a lookalike named Melissa to stand in for paparazzi. The 2 women became friends. Then, crushed by grief and the pressure of sudden fame, Avril died. And rather than lose the golden goose, the record company simply promoted Melissa to full-time Avril. Believers point to a photo where the name Melissa is written in Sharpie on Avril's hand. They point to moles and freckles that seem to appear and disappear across photos, to a subtly different nose and jawline, to changed handwriting, to the fact that old Avril wore dickies and pants, while new Avril started wearing dresses. And they read her second album like scripture. The title itself, Under My Skin, a stranger under the skin of the real singer. The song Nobody's Home, they claim, is a coded confession that she died at her parents' empty house. The album, they say, is where guilty Melissa left her clues. It is, of course, completely false. And here's the detail that makes it perfect. The whole thing began as a joke about how conspiracy theories spread. It originated on a 2011 Brazilian blog called Avril Está Marta, Avril is dead. The very first line of that blog admitted that the entire exercise was a demonstration. As BuzzFeed's Ryan Broderick noted, the opening line read, roughly, that the blog was created to show how conspiracy theories can look true. The creator later changed the post to state plainly that Avril had not died. It caught real fire in 2015 when Broderick tweeted about the blog, and then had to publish a piece titled, essentially, "Here's how I accidentally made an old Avril Lavigne death hoax go viral." Then, in 2017, a Twitter user who described himself as a 17-year-old high school student, posting under the handle @GivenchyAss, laid the whole thing out in a thread that opened with, "Avril Lavigne is dead and was replaced by a lookalike." Rolling Stone reported that first tweet racked up over 100,000 retweets and 160,000 favorites. The BBC put the combined likes and retweets total closer to 250,000. The hoax had become one of the most famous celebrity death myths of the internet age. And how does Avril handle it? Well, she laughs. On the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2024, Alex Cooper asked her straight out,
So your name is Avril Lavigne?
Yeah. I knew you half believed it!
That's Melissa. That's not Avril.
When did it start, my second album? Like, I don't even know. I think like from the beginning-ish, second album. I don't know.
And why do you think people think that?
I think that they've done that with other artists. I'm not the only one.
Really?
I think like other people have that.
I feel like yours is like really prominent.
Oh, I mean, I feel like you might believe it.
Years earlier, she'd called it a dumb internet rumor and said she was flabbergasted that people bought into it. But let's just pause on why this rumor, why her. You don't get a body double conspiracy about someone whose selling point is transparency unless the audience already senses an odd seam somewhere. Avril's entire brand was authenticity, the anti-Britney, the real one, the girl who wrote her own real honest punkish truth. And yet we've just seen the seams, the hit-making trio, the label anxiety, the star persona built in a label conference room. The Melissa theory is what happens when a culture is sold realness as a product, and can't quite locate where the real girl ends and the packaging begins. Yes, of course, the conspiracy is absurd, but the instinct underneath it is not. It actually makes me think of why, then, the internet was full of Jim Carrey clone conspiracy theories. My take is that he was always incredibly self-aware, skeptical about his wealth and fame, so his new plastic surgery look doesn't fit what he showed us as his personality. Well, let's talk about the packaging, shall we? Just because it's the actual blueprint here. If you've gotten this far, please do me a tiny little favor. Hit like, and if you're new, subscribe, because this channel lives, thanks to curious people like you. And tell me in the comments, did you also own a studded belt? Be honest. So, the look. In the Complicated video, and at her first MTV Video Music Awards in 2002, the uniform was set, a man's loosened necktie over a white ribbed tank top, low-slung camo or baggy cargo pants, a studded belt, fat skate shoes or Converse, wrists stacked with rubber bracelets and sweatbands, dead straight hair, and the raccoon smudge of black eyeliner. I was absolutely crazy about that look back then. She herself listed the ingredients years later, celebrating the 20th anniversary of Complicated. Neckties, black eyeliner, tank tops, fat skate shoes, dickies. Teenagers descended on Hot Topic and Claire's to recreate it. It was menswear as girlhood, a way of being looked at that didn't allow for being ogled. Avril, in 2000s, was a textbook suburban androgyne, the tomboy ingenue, a pretty blue-eyed girl armored in the boyfriend's clothes, refusing the Maiden to Magdalene pipeline that the industry had built for the Britneys and Christinas. It's easy to see the tension as the whole point. And don't get me wrong, Avril wasn't rejecting sexuality. She was withholding it, and withholding is obviously a kind of power. Most women know that. The Apollonian hard outline against the Dionysian mess of teen hormones. She weaponized the no. I don't want to sell sex. I feel that's sort of lame and low. I've got so much more to say, she said. Camille Paglia, who has always been suspicious of a feminism that treats sexiness as oppression, could have also pointed out the paradox. The refusal to be sexualized became, itself, a sexy commodity. Suburban rebellion, packaged and sold back to the suburbs. And here's what's unique to Avril, and Avril alone. She wasn't the first angry young woman. Alanis Morissette, whom she'd shared a stage with, actually got there first. She wasn't the toughest punk. Purists sneered that she couldn't really skate, that she was a poser, a product of a major label's marketing team. For the record, she did hang around a skate crowd, and can be seen on a board in the complicated video, never X Games material, but not a fraud either. What made her singular was perhaps her flatness, if I may say so. She didn't perform gratitude, didn't beam. It's an industry running on high-gloss enthusiasm, but she was that teenage girl who looked mildly annoyed to be that famous, and it somehow felt new. Refusing to smile is almost a political act when you're a young woman. Also, her opinions ran against the grain in ways people forget. Believe it or not, she actually hated the anti-Britney label the press pinned on her. I don't believe in that. She's a human being. God, leave her alone. A line that now reads as eerily prophetic, since she said that years before Leave Britney Alone became a big thing. And she was ambivalent about the word punk itself, calling it such a touchy word. And I'm sure you can relate, people do get funny about who and how is allowed to use it. By November 2002, she stopped wearing the ties altogether because they'd started to feel like wearing a costume. Which is a remarkable thing to admit for someone whose entire image was literally that exact costume. And she spent her adult career staging a very deliberate rejection of growing up, from Here's to Never Growing Up to the Peter Pan insistence, well into her 30s, that we still love it. Her faith, always present, resurfaced hard after her health collapsed. I say this because that's the other disappearance, the real one. In 2014, a tick bite left her with Lyme disease. She was misdiagnosed for months, told she was dehydrated or exhausted from touring. I had no idea a bug bite could do this. I was bedridden for 5 months, she told People magazine. She later said she was really in bed for the better part of 2 years. I felt like I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk, and I couldn't move. I thought I was dying, she said. One night she believed she was dying, and her mother lay in bed and held her. And out of that came the song Head Above Water, a piano prayer that became a Christian radio hit. She told USA Today, "I'm not a crazy Bible thumper, but I do have faith." The woman the internet insisted was long dead had, in fact, nearly died, and wrote her way out. Not everything she touched was innocent. In 2014, she released the Hello Kitty video, shot in Tokyo, in which she pranced through candy stores and sushi restaurants, flanked by 4 expressionless, identically dressed Asian dancers. The backlash was immediate. Cultural appropriation, racism, Asian women used as human props. Avril's response was pretty sassy. Racist? LOL? She argued she'd made it with a Japanese label, a Japanese director, and Japanese choreographers, out of love for the country where she remains hugely popular. There were legal fights, too. In 2007, songwriters from the 70s band the Rubinus sued, claiming her #1 hit, Girlfriend, borrowed from their song I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend. The case was settled. That same year, Chantal Kreviazuk, her Under My Skin collaborator, publicly suggested Avril had lifted one of her melodies. And Avril fired back that the comments were damaging to my reputation and a clear defamation of my character. The through line of her whole career is this. The more successful she got, the more people insisted she hadn't really made any of it. Her manager put it like this: everyone comes after the stars. So let's do the practical beauty breakdown I promised. The part where we sort of steal something useful. Besides, becoming a channel member gets you a few things too. Members-only podcast episodes, custom emojis and badges next to your name in the comments, and early access to videos before anyone else. And to everyone who's already a member, genuinely, thank you. You keep the lights on over here and I love you for that. And speaking of stealing the look, there's that Avril-inspired t-shirt I designed just for us. So check the link if you want to have one for yourself. It took a while to finish because of my damn perfectionism, but I am super happy with how it turned out. They ship super fast to and fro all over our little globe, and nothing makes me happier than to hear from you when you get one. I've now designed quite a few of those for our previous episodes on both channels, and they're waiting for you in the store. Go adopt one, they get lonely. Now, the big serious beauty advice. Do not try to become Avril Lavigne circa 2002. Not that you'd try. Cosplay ages badly, and even she abandoned the tie. Instead, let's get the principle. The Avril blueprint isn't the necktie, it's the idea of taking masculine or wrong elements and wearing them in a way that reads as yours. An oversized men's shirt over something delicate. A heavy boot with a soft dress. One hard accent against something feminine. The tension is delicious, I swear. It also works great in the contrast on fabrics. For the eyes, her signature is the smudged black smoky eye, and here's the cool part, she does it herself and has for over 20 years. She told Allure she can't stand people doing her makeup, because I know how I like it, especially when I can do my smoky eye in 2 minutes. She's also said that back in the early 2000s, good black pigment was super hard to find. Her tip for beginners is pretty useful. Don't start with a hard line. As she put it, if you just do solid black, it's really hard to get it a good shape. So build it up softly and smudge. The one product to actually buy? She told the strategist her desert island can't live without it item is MAC's eye kohl in the shade Smolder. She likes to do a smoky eye because of her blue eyes. If you want a single recommendable product from this whole video, that's it. A smudgeable black kohl, like MAC Smolder, applied close to the lash line and blended out with a fingertip while it's still soft. For skin, she's named Dermalogica's Daily Microfoliant Scrub as another favorite. And remember, she paired all of it with dead straight hair early on, then also some pink streaks later. And Avril's advice to us? Strip away the scandals and the hoax and the lawsuits, and her message has been remarkably consistent for 24 years. Don't be the person who acts different around different people. That was the whole complaint of Complicated. Refuse to sell the parts of yourself that matter most. And when the world decides it knows who you are, when it calls you a fake, or a poser, or literally a dead replaced by a clone, just laugh, keep your same eyeliner, and carry on. We spent 20 years arguing about whether Avril Lavigne was authentic, as if authenticity were a fixed thing you either have or fake. But maybe she proved something sneakier, that a self is something you build on purpose, and that building it deliberately doesn't make it less real. That's what I've been saying on here too. If you do it deliberately, it's maybe even more real, because you've put in more of yourself and your conscious effort into it. Go line your eyes. You're a star. I've queued up the next chapter for you here. I'll see you soon. Love, Kira. Now go create your own blueprint.